Welcome. I'm Alameda County Board of Education President Aisha Knowles. Thank you for joining us at the Alameda County Office of Education as we present the latest updates on TK to 12 education in Alameda County during the COVID-19 pandemic. The role of ACOE is to provide oversight and fiscal and educational standards and provide support and guidance for schools and educational leaders. Though our day-to-day work has changed drastically over the past many months, our role as an information hub for local educational agencies has grown more vital and has kept us very busy. ACOE is committed to finding new ways to serve our wider education community during the pandemic. We've hosted town halls with local public health officials, and you can find those recordings at acoe.org/town hall, and partnered with our local public health leadership to provide regular and ongoing updates to school leadership and give school leaders and elected officials opportunities to ask questions of experts in public health and education. This presentation is the latest in our updates to you, our community, but we will continue to share information and guidance as it becomes available. Visit acoe.org for upcoming events and the latest news. Thank you again for joining us. Up next is ACOE Director of Public Affairs and Communications, Michelle Smith-McDonald.
Hi, I'm Michelle Smith-McDonald, Director of Communications and Public Affairs for ACOE. I am among the ACOE staff that has shifted duties to center school closures and school reopening in our work. We are creating, curating, and sharing resources with our school communities as quickly as we can, and through our phenomenal professional networks that include representatives from school communities across Alameda County. We are bringing people together to share ideas, prepare, plan, and pose and answer questions. ACOE hosts weekly meetings with local public health officials and school leaders or elected representatives in education. We receive updates on data trends at the local, regional, state levels and beyond, and this data and recommendations from public health officers inform planning for our schools. Currently, we are seeing a worsening situation that is not limited to Alameda County. California's blueprint for a safer economy, the statewide color-coded tier system, has Alameda County in the purple tier, its most restrictive level. The return to the purple tier came on November 18th in the face of increasing case rates across the county. Further, as of December 7th, our county proactively implemented the state's regional stay-at-home order that is triggered when ICU capacity reaches a specific level. While those regional restrictions do not change the status of our county schools, it does speak to the public health situation we are in and the need to maintain vigilance on face coverings, physical distancing, and stopping gatherings with those outside of our households. The Alameda County Office of Education is supporting school districts, regional occupational programs, and charter schools in following all state and local guidelines. ACOE does not order school closures or reopening and does not dictate or mandate safety measures or educational programming. The Alameda County Public Health Department does not order school reopening, but does determine when local conditions support in-person learning and schools may reopen. It can set criteria stricter than those set by the state for school reopening, making decisions tailored to the circumstances and needs of our community. Each Alameda County TK through 12 school district, regional occupational program, and charter school is responsible for drafting reopening plans following local and state guidance, and, after securing any needed local approvals, submitting plans to ACOE, which screens and forwards them to public health. When Alameda County Public Health permits schools to reopen, they may implement reopening plans that have gone through this process. Each school sets its own reopening date and may continue with distance learning to finalize or prepare for implementation of reopening plans, negotiate with labor partners, and make other arrangements as needed. As previously mentioned, the regional order recently implemented in Alameda County does not impact schools. However, our county's status in the purple tier does halt school reopening for now. A limited number of schools reopened when Alameda County permitted the reopening of TK through 6th grade instruction on October 13th, and then 7th through 12th grade instruction on November 9th. Those schools may continue to serve students and proceed with reopening plans submitted to ACOE and Public Health before reopening, including continuing to add grade levels within an open school per a phased reopening schedule. Schools that did not open by November 18th, including those that submitted reopening plans but had not yet returned students to classrooms, may not reopen at this time. There is an option for schools to provide in-person instruction and services for students with specific needs in small groups under state guidance for small cohorts and groups of children and youth. A list of schools and districts that have submitted reopening plans is available on our website and will continue to be updated even as reopening is paused in Alameda County. ACOE is continuing to accept reopening plans from schools and districts in anticipation of eventual reopening. This allows for thorough and thoughtful planning to continue, with implementation of plans holding until public health conditions allow. School leaders have much to consider and many partners in their work to return students to classrooms. They are continuing to carefully consider the health and safety of staff and students, and the varied and individualized needs of students and families as they develop and implement reopening plans. ACOE and Alameda County Public Health are supporting this planning through providing comprehensive guidance documents, more on this later, hosting regular virtual meetings for school leaders over the past 7 months, and additional meetings for school board trustees and labor partners, with opportunities during each meeting for participants to ask questions of public health officials and others in education, and convening virtual town hall meetings to provide information and respond to community questions and concerns. In addition, ACOE continues to work with districts in Alameda County to support services for school communities, such as child nutrition, childcare, and technology. As mentioned, ACOE and Alameda County Public Health collaborate on comprehensive guidance for our schools. Our COVID-19 school guidance offers guidance specific to Alameda County with comparisons and guidelines for local implementation of federal, state, and county guidance. It includes answers to the questions most frequently asked of and by school leaders. The guidance is updated weekly and is available at acoe.org/guidance. ACOE and Alameda County Public Health are also working together to support schools with an essential piece of reopening, identifying and training school staff to act as COVID liaisons. These liaisons provide a critical service to our community by bringing the latest public health information and practices to their schools and acting as a content point for public health for alerts on positive cases and identifying close contacts within school communities for contact tracing. The liaisons receive updates and training as needed, such as the recent training on protocols for health screening for students and staff. We thank each of the school employees that is taking on this critical role for their school communities, a role that is particularly vital as schools prepare to reopen. Another critical piece of school reopening is staff screening testing. Alameda County Public Health recommends that teachers and staff that may have contact with students or other staff be tested for COVID-19 at least once per month. In October, Alameda County Superintendent of Schools, L. Karen Monroe, reached an agreement to provide access to screening testing services for the staff of our county's public school districts, schools operated by ACOE, and charter schools authorized by ACOE. ACOE is in our second month of testing our staff, and we are using this experience to provide insight and guidance to districts who are rolling out their program. Supporting districts' efforts to get a system for staff screening testing up and running helps school leaders focus on other aspects of getting students back to school. In fact, we all have a role in getting our students back to school. The steps we can take to keep ourselves and our neighbors safe are also steps toward creating the best conditions for schools to reopen. We encourage everyone in Alameda County to travel only when essential, avoid gatherings, particularly when prohibited by the health officer orders, comply with stay-home orders, wear a face covering, wash your hands frequently, and make sure your children's immunizations are current. For those with students in their households, please continue to support students with distance learning. While instruction continues to look very different, students must still show up for school to build vital connections. ACOE is sharing resources and partnering with educational agencies in our county to be prepared for every step between now and a time when we can be together again. These resources, which are available in multiple languages, cover topics including immunizations, distance learning tips, and the steps we'll take as we return to in-person instruction. Find resources at acoe.org/showup. A major milestone on the path to returning to classrooms and wider sense of normalcy was recently reached with approval of the first COVID-19 vaccine by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. ACOE will be part of a community advisory committee formed by the Alameda County Public Health Department that will determine how vaccines will be rolled out in Alameda County. We will advocate for educators to be prioritized to receive vaccines as soon as possible. We have no information yet about distribution to communities or students, though we are in the very early stages of this process, and we know much more information will come in 2021. Our ACOE website is a hub of up-to-date information for school communities and families. Please visit acoe.org to access any of the resources presented, including the guidance document for Alameda County schools, an up-to-date list of schools that have submitted reopening plans, COVID-19 liaison information, district meal distribution schedules, a school reopening checklist, and distance learning resources in multiple languages. Our commitment at ACOE continues to be supporting districts and schools through this unique moment. We are available to respond to questions from our school communities, so do please reach out if there's any information we can provide.
Hello, I'm Alameda County Superintendent of Schools, L.K. Monroe. I hope this presentation with updates on TK-12 education in Alameda County has provided some clarity on our current status. We want to acknowledge the difficulties that students, families, school staff, and school leaders have experienced during this unique time. All of us at ACOE acknowledge your strength, patience, and resilience. As always, please continue to wear face coverings whenever you leave home. Maintain social distance, wash your hands frequently, and do not travel unless essential. All of these actions we take at the individual level help drive down case rates and move us more quickly toward the school reopenings and better days we all want to see. I am hopeful that the new year will bring with it an opportunity to be together, to learn, and spend time with one another in person again. In the meantime, our collective commitment to our children and communities will sustain us. Thank you again for joining us. I wish you and your loved ones health and joy this holiday season. Take care.